All right, the television world is buzzing just one day after nominations for the 77th Annual Primetime Emmys were unveiled. Severance leading the field with a staggering 27 nominations, followed closely by The Penguin with 24, The Studio and White Lotus tied at 23 apiece. Joining us now is Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes correspondent Erik Davis. Erik, how are you?
How's it going?
Hey, good. So any snubs or surprises by your estimation?
You know, Chris, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and the show Andor was nominated for Best Drama, but nobody in its cast was nominated. I'm looking at Diego Luna, Stellan Skarsgård, all really great performances. So that was a bit of a snub, in my opinion. Also, it seems like everyone from The White Lotus was nominated except one of my favorite characters, who's played by Patrick Schwarzenegger. So I consider that to be a bit of a snub as well. When it comes to surprises, you know, The Studio, not the fact that it was nominated, but the fact that it tied the record for nominations for a comedy series, I thought that was a bit of surprising, mainly because of its guest stars. It has a heavy list of guest stars that a lot of them were nominated, including Martin Scorsese and Ron Howard, who both received their first Emmy nominations for a guest starring role.
Do you remember back in the day when movie stars and movie directors wouldn't even think about television? And now all these huge names we're hearing are getting their first Emmy nominations. Boy, the tides have turned over the last decade. All right, let's talk about some of the big names in the industry that were nominated. Any actors particularly excited after hearing the nominations?
You know, I love seeing Kathy Bates in there for Matlock. She becomes the oldest woman to ever be nominated in that category for lead actress. But then I'm also looking at these first-timers. You know, over 30 first-time nominees this year. Harrison Ford, at 83 years old, becomes a first-time Emmy nominee. And we have a lot of co-stars that were nominated together. Adam Brody, Kristen Bell for Nobody Wants This, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ruth Negga for Presumed Innocent, and Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti for The Penguin.
It was cool to hear Harrison Ford's name called, that's for sure. Now that the nominations have been announced, everybody's got about 2 months to binge all the nominees. It is the kind of the off season here in the summertime, so people have a little bit more time. If you had to make a short list of what you definitely need to watch, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to put Severance and The Studio on there, because they are, you know, two of the most decorated shows, and they are going to be frontrunners in their respective categories. I would also put The Pit on there. I'm kind of obsessed with that show. It's an awesome medical show, so I would put The Pit on there. And then I would also look at shows like The White Lotus as well, which is a lot of people are talking about. And we have over 40 of these nominated series available on Fandango at home, so you can watch them, you can binge them if you don't subscribe to all of these various streaming services.
All right, awesome. Erik, thanks again. Great to see you.
Thanks a lot.
All right. CBS and Paramount Plus will air the Primetime Emmy Awards from L.A. on September 14th, with comedian Nate Bargatze set to be your host on that evening.